Kia ora, everyone. This is really odd because I can't see anyone, so I'm just pretending there's about 1,000 people in the room listening to me, and not just one person. Thanks for having me, and I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Oh, there you are. I kind of wanted to present today some of the work we've been doing in terms of augmented reality for the public, and I've got a couple of things to show, a couple of examples of work to show. So I'm very conscious of the time, and I know you guys are running behind, so I'll try and keep to my time frame. Firstly, I did a pie graph to show the number of pies I have my fingers in. One is Wanderer, which you just heard. It's a game studio where we're developing a VR game for a console. So we're working on that. That's a joint venture between M Theory and Oddboy, and came about a few years ago. Actually, we got a little bit of funding from the Film Commission on an idea that we had, and it went from there. We got funded last year, so it was really awesome. So we've got a team of about 16 plus some contractors under Wanderer, and we've got Method. I'm a co-founder of Method as well. We started Method up about 17 years ago now. And we're essentially a creative tech studio. So a lot of the work we do with Method is very much service-based for clients across a whole range of work, including everything from web and branding through to more creative tech, augmented reality, virtual reality. And then we also set up M Theory maybe 3 years ago, 3-4 years ago, essentially as our sort of more original IP entertainment arm. And so under that, we're developing more of our own original IP. That's where kind of Wanderer came out of as well, and working on projects in there. So some of the work we've been doing, not sure how familiar you guys are with some of it, but this is probably a couple of years old now, but I wanted to just showcase some of the work we have been doing, and then the more recent work in the last sort of 14 months. 12 to 14 months. And so this is something we created for Ngāti Whātua Orake, which was a augmented reality walking tour up at Bastion Point. And it was essentially to bring to life the stories in that area. When you go up to Bastion Point, you literally have this Michael Savage memorial, nothing else. You can walk around the gardens, but there's no link to the land or the place or the history. And so we wanted to create something that was quite sustainable, you know, without putting up a building on site that could showcase some of the Māori history and some of the really positive stories and history around that. So I'll show a little video which showcases the app, and it's an app that you download from the store. Hopefully the video works.
Ka hura te tiramaka o Ngāti Whātua. Ka hura te manawa uha. Unuhanga te mauri o roto ki te whaia.
So we launched that maybe 2-3 years ago now. We've relaunched it again this year, just to keep up to date with the latest tech. and there's been a few slight design changes, but essentially it's a walking tour with 4 hotspots that you go to, location-based, and you can have an augmented reality experience at each one. Some have 360 video, some have, they've all got text and images and content to discover, and a sort of a photo album as well. So each one also features a native bird that we bring to life. So here's some of the sort of content pieces. This is in the second spot. You can see Rangitoto erupting, and if you've got it on a good day and you're facing the right way, it looks like it's in front of you. And then at the end, we've got a welcome to the marae and a bit of an explanation there. So it's been a really beautiful experience for Ngāti Whātua, being able to share their stories with people in a really unique way. The other stuff we've done previously, and again, you might have seen some of this, is bringing a book to life with augmented reality. This is called The Boy and the Lemon, a book that was on Kickstarter a couple of years ago. And we really saw the value in bringing the content to life. It had a really beautiful story. And so we wanted to try and showcase how AR could work in kids' entertainment. It wasn't really being explored as much, you know, and so we wanted to show how we could do that with existing content and kind of looking at it in a very pop-up book style. And then also playing around with sort of more, I'll call it situational AR, but essentially being able to, so we've seen location-based AR with the Ngāti Whātua Rake tour, with The Boy and the Lemon, it's more marker-based, and this one here, you basically find a flat surface and can put our scene down. So this is something we launched for Christmas, maybe a couple of years ago now, and essentially was a snowball throwing game at the Naughty Elves from Method. You placed down the scene and then the elves popped up and you played with them. I think it's available on the App Store now, but not on Google Play. We have to do a few changes with the new kits that are available. And so we haven't had a chance to do that. But if you do have an iPhone, you'll be able to download it and play it. And so it's been really interesting with augmented reality. It's been really, you know, it's been great. There's been some really awesome content that we've been able to deliver, but, and there's a but, is the whole apps component and the whole, you know, the fact that you have to download an app to actually access content. And the other issue with augmented reality is apps again. And so a lot of kind of what we've been doing in the last sort of 14 to 18 months has been trying to figure out how we can do, how we can bring these experiences to life and make it more accessible for people. And so bringing AR to life for the public's been a really big focus for us. And there's a few different ways we've done that. A couple of things I want to show, which is probably not your typical AR that you'd imagine, but some of the work we've been doing in projection mapping with a couple of museums. This is something we developed for Auckland Museum and was launched late last year for an exhibition called To Paya's Journey. And we created this tabletop navigation game that was basically projection mapped onto the top of the table. We've got some 3D islands there that you might be able to see. I don't know if my mouse is working, but those were 3D printed and put on the table, and then we projection mapped and matched them exactly to the top of the islands. And then I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Sorry, I've got some boxes covering my side, but there's a physical tiller on the right as well that the taller boy's using to navigate the boat around the island, the pahi. And so it's a game that was launched there as part of the exhibition. It's been really, really successful and really, really well received, which is awesome. But sort of bringing that, you know, that content to life in a more public-facing, location-based experience. So that's quite a good example of how we can kind of start to look at taking some of this content out. And then the next one, I kind of wanted to show a little bit of sort of the way we developed this as well. So very briefly, this is something we did for Australian National Maritime Museum that launched at the beginning of this year for an exhibition around Captain Bligh. The exhibition was called Bligh, Hero or Villain. So we know that the whole discovery of Australia and New Zealand is very controversial, and Australian National Maritime Museum wanted to kind of sort of mark the anniversary, but in a different way, and to bring to light sort of Bligh's journey and story. And so the whole exhibition was about whether you see him as a villain or a hero. He's very polarizing. And so as you go through the exhibition, there's a whole lot of digital experiences that we created that, you know, that show the good side and then some of the sort of more negative things that he did. And the idea is that as you go through the exhibition, you decide whether he's a hero or villain and put in a token basically into a box depending on where you thought he sat. And so one of the larger pieces that we did within the exhibition was this large projection mapped journey. This is basically trying to show the mutiny and the crew afterwards on the small boat, basically traveling for days in a cramped boat. And so what we were trying to do is really bring that experience to life for people. So we created in 3D the environment. And I'll see if I can show you guys some screens in a sec. We created in 3D the environment, the boat, the water, all the effects and everything. And then green screen shot the crew and placed them in there to really try and show what that experience was like. So the idea was that you'd sat in some seats in front of this and you'd be at the same level, almost like you were on the other half of the boat and this is the first half of the boat. So you were part of that journey. So I'll just show you a couple of screens of how we did this. So that's the final experience that you saw. And so this was a projected movie that ran. And this is some of the behind the scenes, our crew sitting while we filmed them in our traditional sailor garb, huddling there in the boat. And you can see here, what we did is we actually had the boat, we created the boat in 3D, we had the scene and we could take that to our green screen shoot and literally put people in it as, you know, as we were filming them just to make sure positioning was right. So this was really, really awesome actually being able to do this live. And so you'll see a couple of scenes here. These guys looking really weary from their journey. And then how we're able to comp them in the scene, position them, get them to move around and do all of that, you know, so we can get them in perfectly. And this is just a little video of the final experience. There's no sound, so just in case you're wondering if there's any sound. So as that played through, we showed sort of a day of that journey. You can see lightning and then the sun would come in. There were diary excerpts on the left there that showed Bly's journal notes as they were on this journey. He took quite detailed notes as they were going through it. So really, really well received. And the ability to do something without someone putting a headset on or, you know, taking a device out to be able to have that experience. And then the other thing I wanted to quickly talk about is something we've been working on quite a bit this year, is our own platform to create web augmented reality and to do a lot more around that. So the platform is called Matter, and the long-term idea is that you'll be able to create rich, interactive, augmented reality experiences straight through it. We're still in development, and essentially we're using the platform ourselves to launch a lot of campaigns for clients. We're working on one at the moment for Canterbury Museum, but long-term it'll be something that's available for people to come in and be able to set up their own campaign and either choose from a library of content or be able to load some of their own content in. So I'll show a couple of examples of this working. I think I've got a couple of minutes. And the first one we did was over Easter. Through our lockdown, it was something that we wanted to do. We knew it was going to be a little bit of a different Easter for everyone. So we created a Easter egg hunt, and the great indoor Easter egg hunt, and you can find it online still because we were asked to leave it up for a few people, so feel free to go and enjoy, but you have to draw an Easter egg. That's part of the journey really. So I'll show you how this worked, but the best thing to do is go and try it. And so Web AR is I mean, it's been around for a while, but it really hasn't been stable enough or available in enough browsers for us to be able to use it until sort of, you know, the work we've been doing on it this year. We're starting to find that it's a lot more stable. We can get some really good content in there. So we're probably pushing it with the sort of animations we're doing, but it is finally starting to get to a point where we can use it properly. And it means there are no apps to download, which is, you know, one of the biggest barriers, as we know, to augmented reality. With this, you can literally visit a website and carry through the journey there. And we've been able to create, you know, one-off scannable experiences and also treasure hunt style journeys, which is very much what this one's like. Show a little, oh yeah, and so sorry, I'll just talk about this a little bit. So it's all fully browser based. We've used Google Cloud Vision in a couple of our experiences, which has been really, really great to tap into. So for example, with the Easter one, you scan an Easter egg, it'll recognize it and then run an animation based on what you've scanned. And you know, you can create physical and digital content, to go together, which is really great. There's a little video here to show you one of the little scenes. So this is in the app, sorry, on the website. And there's a site, Great Indoor Easter Egg Hunt, and that told parents and kids what to do with the hunt. Basically, kids had to draw 5 Easter eggs, and the parents hid them around the house based on the list we gave them, and then they went on a treasure hunt using their phone. And so we did something similar again for Halloween. We love our holidays. And this was something we called Everyday Horrors, which was basically finding a monster in everyday objects. And so we used Google Cloud Vision again, and it's live still, so you can go and check it out. That's the platform, gometa.io/everyday horrors. And so you'll see here on the right, the Yetis popped up because we scanned a fridge because he lives in a cold environment. But you could go through and basically try and find items around your home to scan, and then if you found something, it would pop up with the monster related. That's me. Thank you.